know the stars have to look good.
Yeah, of course. I agree.
What is it? The star to look what?
The women stars.
Okay, yes. Anyway, here we are with the EYW family. Kyra, Warren, Sidoni, and Gary. And we have known this family for a long spell, living here in Lake Worth,
Yes.
Florida. Right? So yesterday we did a little take with Sidoni, and that was quite nice. It was her birthday, and everybody seemed to love her. I can't understand why, but
We love her anyway.
you love her anyway.
That's right.
Okay, so Gary, I'm going to start with you. If you just pick up that little red thing there, don't swallow it, that's all. Right, Gary, so how long have you been married to Sidoni?
Oh boy. Calculate for me now.
Gary,
I have to do that for you too.
you need to talk into that.
You said, oh boy, calculate for me now? Well, before I calculate, you better kiss me. Give me one.
Okay, well, Sidoni, I will advise you to pick that up also. Right? And then we'll pass it along. So tell us a little bit about your marriage. You have been married how many years?
23 years.
23 years. Wow, is that long?
That's great.
Yes,
It was
yes,
that
yes.
long.
But I always said I wished I knew him way back so I could love him longer.
That's nice, that's nice. That makes for a good marriage.
Yes, it
When
does.
there's love there.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And obviously, Gary, you feel the same way about her, right?
Yes, and
This is your chance to lay the cards on the table, you know.
camera shy man.
Camera shy, yeah.
You know, it's definitely an experience where one's life can be changed and for the better. You know, meeting her and, you know, getting married is the best thing that ever happened to my life that I could think of.
$100 for that comment.
It's not because she's sitting beside
You
me.
name Kissinger. Excuse me, Sidoni, you name Kissinger.
Kissinger.
Loving Jack Kissinger.
Yes.
Lorinda Kissinger.
So when you had your first child being, of course, Warren, you were happy that somebody came into the family brand new and you know, it brought a joy to the family to have a child. And I must say, from what I've seen of Warren, that he is very disciplined and he's a joy to have in the family.
Yes, he is.
But did Gary take second place when
No,
he came?
no, and it was even just yesterday I was standing outside in the driveway, and I gave a little group hug. We were with the kids, and I told him, I said, two of my favorite people, but my most favorite is my husband.
Of course.
I said, because if he wasn't my favorite, you two couldn't be here.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You keep the priorities right.
Right.
Sidoni.
And with Warren, I'll tell you this, when I met Gary, it was, this sounds a little cliche, right? But we were instantly attracted to each other. But I dismiss it because I just said, nah, he have a girlfriend. And I guess, what did you do? Did you say the same thing, or what was your feeling?
Yeah, it was mutual. I mean, you know, it was like I've known her all my life. And speaking with each other, we eventually, you could say that, you know, we intertwine one way or the other, you know what I mean, in different parts.
Till you get tangled.
Until we get tangled. That's right.
And when he took me out on the first date, he said, we went to Cheesecake Factory, and we ordered our food, and food came, and it wasn't long when he took his fork and put it into my plate, and I just put down my knife and fork and fold my hand like this.
You see how comfortable I was the first time?
And I just said, oh, so I see where this is going. I said, so let us just keep this real. I'm 33 and you are 34.
He's too much older than you.
I said,
Smidgen.
Wait, But he looking really young.
But
I
he,
thought you
but
were
he
very
act
young,
like
but
he
you looking
years
really
older
young.
than me. So I say, oh, I see where this is going. I say, I raise up my left hand. I say, see my bad side here. I raise up my right side, my right hand, and I say, see my good side here. I say, you can handle that? He said to me, well, oh, and I miss a part in this little explanation. Right before he took his fork and put into my plate, he asked me how many kids I wanted to have.
What?
And I said, first date, you know. And I said,
See?
3.
I don't mess around, you know, Louise.
I said 3. And he nodded his head and he said, good number, because I want 3 children too, right? So he take his hand, he fork now and put in my plate. And I said, oh, so I see where this is going. I said, so see my bad side here and see my good side here. I said, you can handle that? I said, because I'm, what you're going to see is what you're going to get.
Very good. That's important in marriage.
Yes.
What you see is what you get.
And rather than focus on my good side and my bad side, he said, like I asked you before, how many kids you want to have?
So that's why I'm always looking out for which hand's being raised.
So this was in the restaurant.
This was
The
in the
same
restaurant.
first date.
Who paid the bill?
He paid the bill.
Oh,
But that's the same one where you
No, not that
No,
one. No.
not that
One
one.
bill? Uh-uh.
So that was, it was a nice little traditional date, but it was
Yes.
there that we started to plan for Warren.
okay.
What? And you're married yet?
Not married.
Warren, boy, you were that special child.
So how many years married you all are?
23.
23. Very nice. Very nice. Yes.
So we'll start to plan for Warren there. And Warren, it wasn't long after that we found out that Warren was coming.
Yes.
Because after I got pregnant and I went to the doctor, the ultrasonography said, well, I see a stem on this apple. So I was quite elated I was getting my son,
Yes.
right?
Yes, you were.
Very happy.
You see, the wee boy, you move real fast.
Oh yes, we start.
Married in how much time?
We start quick. No. What was my saying that I always say?
That you, I'm not sure. Go ahead.
Oh gosh, we can't show them. So we having Alzheimer's now.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Start
I
quick,
remember. I said we start late, but we stop quick.
Right.
You start late and you start quick.
No.
Very good.
Then after that, then when Warren was 9 months old, I found out I was pregnant with Kyra. And when I found out I was pregnant with Kyra, I was a hot mess. I was quite upset.
Very upset. Yeah.
Yes, I was mad. I stormed up the stairwell into the bedroom. I slammed the door and I said, is what this going on? How am I going to manage to pick me up by myself? Because he used to work long hours. And he come and knock on the door and I wouldn't let him in, and him say, let me in because it wasn't me alone make the mistake.
Oh my.
But you know, it started that way, but we're so thankful for the daughter that has come along. And there's a balance that came with that too, you know.
She came in with a bang and, she was not a mistake.
That's right.
She lit up our lives
Very good.
and showed to us I was meant to be here.
That's right.
That's nice. When the parent love, reaches out. And then she said something last night that was really good. She said, Mom, you're my best friend.
Yes,
I thought I was really good,
That was very lovely.
the both of them.
Yeah.
So tell me something about this American society that you had to raise your children in. You found it difficult? I mean, some issues that will crop up in this country.
Yeah, but, well, being the West Indians that we are, and we err on the side of good, strong, sound discipline. You ever hear that term called being a helicopter mom?
No, explain it.
Well, a helicopter hover. And that's what I did the first 15 years of their lives. Because I sat them down when they were going to school and I said to them, listen, me and your father not raising any criminals in this house. So when you leave this house and you go to school, anything happen, whether it's you do it or you didn't do it, you come home and you tell me what happened. So I got them so programmed that when I would pick them up from school, as soon as them jump into the car, Mom, guess what happened today? And it was the difference between, Mom, guess what happened today, when they jumped into the car all exuberant, versus, Mom, I have something to tell you. When they said, Mom, I have something to tell you, it means they did something. But I just calmly listened to them, and I never believed in too much spanking. I think I can count on one hand that I give them some good little whoopings. But for me, I use my mother's approach. Talk off your head till you're tired of the lecture.
So you were both united in that stand you took with your kids, right?
Both of us.
Because sometimes, one parent might be having a formula, right? Unspoken formula, but the other parent may not be as inclined. I remember even in our own case, and Louise, that there were times when I would want to discipline my boys, and maybe the girls too, but Louise would be a little more tender. And I felt, no, this is not going to work so. But of course, it had its results. Of course, there were times when perhaps, and Louise, you and I did, on a little strain for that. Only for rearing the kids. You could tell people how it was.
Yeah, I think of 52 years of marriage,
Talk, really.
we talk as if at home.
Talk as if you're home. Talk as if you're home.
Yeah, for our 52 years of marriage together, we hardly had any disagreements between ourselves, but we disagree over the kids. The correction that he sometimes take, I thought, was a bit stern, and he will get really upset, and he would say to me, "We have to bring these children up as a united force. One don't go between the other, and you'll cause the child to come to you always because you are soft."
Yes.
And the children are wise in playing off kids.
Yes.
So at first I couldn't understand it because I just felt Lance was a real disciplinarian. He came from a home, his father was a disciplinarian. He never got licks but his brothers.
Yes.
So he know about that kind of disciplinarian background. But I can't say that, we were brought up with knowing licks because we lost parents quite early. And it was my siblings that really took care of us. So it was always a pleading, gentle approach, which I felt was quite effective.
Right. Well, you touch on a good point there, Louise, because right from the get-go, when we came together, it's funny because he said he would, when Warren was born, he made a promise to himself he would never lay his hand on his children. He would be talking.
Yes.
I guess we came from similar backgrounds, So that's why I decided that.
Well, I never made such a promise because I was in too much pain having Warren. I didn't have no time to think about when I'm going to start discipline. I figured that would come in time, right? But we reached a turning point in our agreement for being united in discipline.
Yes, that is important.
When this little one right here, I corrected her one day. She never liked it. She come to me and asked me for something, and I said, "No, you're not getting it." And I think I told you why you weren't getting it. And she was not satisfied with the answer and the explanation. So what she do? She run in the whole room and she creep in there and she asked Daddy, and he said yes. And when she come out of her room and I see that she's doing what I told her not to do, I figured it out and I went straight inside the room to him and I said, "Listen to me. If me and you going to have a good relationship, me and you going to have to agree that when I say no, you support that no. When I say yes, you support that yes. If you say no, same for me." And he learned that she was using her little manipulative ploys from
From
our
very
eyes there, our knees,
Kyra?
and batting our little eyes at daddy like this.
Oh, sorry, do that again. I missed that.
Batting our little eyes at daddy like,
Oh my!
and daddy used to fall for the eye batting, but not me. But Warren was too afraid to get into trouble. So you tell him sit
Very
down and him
cautious, yeah.
sit right down.
I was the same.
Yeah.
I was the same.
But I had decided not to spank the kids. I don't think I ever spanked the kids, right?
Talk it through.
In the shower one time.
In the shower one time, right? so Kyra, don't talk up. This is your big moment, you know.
Let us see if we have to call the police for that.
How do you feel now that you look back? Did you feel oppressed by their decisions? This is a free forum. Go ahead.
I look back at the spankings as comical.
Comical, huh? Yes. Okay, explain that.
There's one time me and Warren used to like to sleep in the same bed, and we used to stay up talking about like random kid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to get late because he used to go to school for like 7 a.m. in the morning, and Dad would come in and be like, "Okay, guys, quiet down." And we'd be like, all right. And then as soon as he leaves, we're just and then he comes back again. He's like, guys, I'm serious. Quiet down. And we're like, okay, Dad, okay. And he leaves again. Comes back a third time with the belt. He doesn't bother turning on the lights. He just starts swinging.
Hold on.
But since it's dark,
Whoa. First explain what you just did to me there that
but
day.
because it's dark,
He just throwing some crazy.
I take the blanket and cover myself and leave Warren to fend for himself.
Warren is exposed, poor thing.
And so Warren's screams were real, mine were not.
Fake cry that day.
But you have benefited from the actions that your parents have taken to guide you all.
Oh,
Would you say that?
Yes.
Would you say that if you had your own family that you would employ perhaps the same approach?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, that's the important thing. That's the important thing. But tell me something, as youngsters growing up in this... Oh. As youngsters growing up in a society like the American society, you find it... what's it like for you all? I mean, you're working now, aren't you? Tyra? Where do you work?
I work in the pharmacy.
Pharmacy. And Warren, what do you do?
I work as a math tutor.
A math tutor. Very good. You find it, okay, let's go back to Warren here. You find it difficult to teach youngsters here?
I say it depends on the child. Some children are quiet and they're focused and want to learn, while other children are more of, I want to go home and do my thing and play game.
So what ages of children do you teach?
From preschool to high school and sometimes college.
Okay. And how do they discipline children over here who might be stepping on the line? How do they go about doing that? I know we in Trinidad, we do have a problem with that.
In where I work,
Yeah, when you work.
to be honest, when that happens, I let the floor manager come over and let her deal with it, and she tries to engage the child. She doesn't really yell at the child or say, "Oh, don't do that." She tries, "How's problem one going?" And she tries to turn their attention to the problem
Oh, okay.
per se. Yeah.
Do parents get involved with this kind of thing?
Yeah. Usually when the parent comes, she will then, the floor manager will go and speak with the parent if it's something urgent, like she's been having issues with over a certain period of time.
So how were your university years? You found it difficult to relate? I'm talking not about education, but about relating to people, your peers, in school. What was it like?
I think I'm a little bit biased because I'm from a mixed background, so I'm used to the mixture, and I actually welcome it. I'm always wanting to meet people and get to know like where they're from and learn from different things from people. But I would say that me personally, no. I enjoy having a mixed classroom and being able to talk to the different perspectives. But I would say that, what would you say? Like, some people might have trouble with it.
So our school is, well, it would be considered very small here. Coming from a high school where you have 3,000 kids and then downsizing to less than 600. There's a lot of introverts that go to our college, and a mix of extroverts too, but mostly the introverts, and we're all very kind of like quiet, and you're kind of waiting for somebody else to break the ice. So I used to be very introverted in high school, and coming into a predominantly introverted college, I had to make a decision where it's like, am I going to stay introverted or do I come out of my shell a little bit? And so I got a job as a tour guide to help me learn how to talk to people better and react to strangers and kind of integrate socially. And it helped me a lot. And also getting a job like where you're constantly interacting with adults and customers like that. It also helped me like socially.
Excellent.
But come back to high school. I remember you kids used to come home and tell me stories about kids that got themselves in trouble, or if you were within the sphere of a kid getting in trouble, you wanted to make sure that you weren't guilty by association. And sometimes you'd have discussions with your peers at school about the parenting and how the Americans parent versus how West Indians parent. And you would always, both of you would always tell your American friends, listen y'all don't have a Jamaican mother. So tell Uncle Lance a little bit about that. Describe to them what that meant to you.
Jamaican mother don't play.
She doesn't mess around, right?
No.
Almost kind of like a culture shock going out and talking to your peers about their different, how they were raised. And so it's like, oh, you're allowed to do that? I could never. But I was never envious of them for the amount of freedom that they had versus my limited freedom at the time, because I saw how it shielded me from going down a path that they did. So yeah, I appreciate the discipline.
Very good. So Louise, I want to leave you out here. Maybe you could hold that and tell us a little bit about what it was like you growing up, being a disciplined child. Were you disciplined?
Well, not exactly, you know. I grew up very free-spirited. So I don't think that discipline was too much in my vocabulary. Because...
But you weren't outrageous. You weren't outrageous.
Oh, no, not that kind of indiscipline. No discipline. But I was always free-spirited in that I love to talk and I love friends and, you know, always like to be in company. And even in the classroom, you know, I would say funny things and make people laugh. And that could have been, probably looking back at it now, to be sometimes maybe rude, you know, in that you are engaging, teachers talking, and you are engaging,
Class clown,
trying to make them laugh, or, you know, or just say something funny, and they would just laugh out, and the teacher. But you know, I don't think I ever lost that, because even in the working world, when we would be in a serious meeting, and everybody is so uptight and straight-faced and nervous, I would just say something that will just make everyone laugh. So I don't know if that's indiscipline or free-spirited, you know. But I guess growing up in the country, that lifestyle was, you were not inhibited. You're not afraid to say or to joke, And I don't think I ever lost it. That kind of free-spirited, Of course, I think when I professed to serve God, I became disciplined. And that's how I knew that God was in control. Because generally, freedom and free-spirited. But I think serving God in the true and living way, it really, I am disciplined where that is concerned. And that's how I know, well, I'm being helped by the Holy Spirit, because generally I am not a disciplined person. But of course, it was not a wayward behavior,
Right.
Like you're doing things, unscrupulous things, but the free spirit.
Well, you have remained with that free spirit, huh?
Yes.
If it should change, I might have to pack my traveling bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me something, now that we're going back to, tell me something about, back home in Trinidad, we often see in the newspapers, perhaps, and people have seen on television, where there's a lot of an outburst of youngsters walking into schools and doing things that they shouldn't do. What do you think is behind this? I mean, this is perhaps a question for psychologists, but what do you think?
Psychologist.
Yeah.
In training.
Oh, that's your field?
Yes,
That's my
your
degree,
field.
yeah.
Oh my goodness! I am so glad I brought this up. Oh boy! Tell us a little bit. What do you think?
I think it's children having children.
Children having children?
Yeah. A lot of people in American society, they'll have kids really young when they're not ready, or just irresponsibly having kids, and they're not. They themselves haven't grown up yet, learned how to mature and be a proper functioning adult in society, and so then they're raising these kids with their own childish mindsets. They haven't grown up yet, and so a child can't rear a child. And they're not being the example that their kids need them to be, and so they think that the kids now think that they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, or sometimes a lot of children will act out of this feeling of not being seen by their parents, because maybe the parents are not paying a lot of attention to them, so those can be some reasons why they're kind of rowdy.
But what kind of measures do you think could be put in place for such, at least to curb the spiral of such actions,
At least in the school system, what I've seen is that like a really good teacher as a role model for them really does help, and not everyone can be a teacher. Like if you're just trying to seek out a paycheck and get through your 9 to 5, like it's not a job for you. It's like some real work that has to go in, and just not only being a adult figure to teach the kid what they need to know to advance to the next grade levels, but also to be an example of how an adult should be. And I find that the teachers that are free-spirited like you have the best
Response?
yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's good news, Louise.
Yeah.
There's hope for you.
That's
right.
I was feeling a little worried when I listened, and I thought, well, my free-spirited.
And just to add, that's a good point that Kyra touches on. When you have a teacher that is free-spirited, it doesn't mean that they're a loose cannon in the classroom.
No.
It means that they are reaching the kids at the kids' level.
They're flexible.
Understanding each individual child in the classroom, and they're saying to themselves, I have a diversity of personalities here that are in the process of growth, and each need is different, and how do I touch each individual child in the classroom and inspire them to a level of reaching the heights the potential that they know they can reach. They can get a vision of what they want to be as an adult. And that free-spirited teacher helps them get there. So it's reaching the kids at their level.
Very good. Thank you.
You know, I read once, I'm not too sure if it's as factual or, I did receive it, I think, like in a WhatsApp letter. And this teacher was saying that there was this young child in her class, and he was just a little, really bad little boy. And he was disinterested, he didn't want to learn, he was untidy, and stuff like that. But then when she looked back at his records, he was always a good child. And she couldn't understand, well then whatever happened? Because this child did well up to standard 3, well, grade 3 or whatever. And then she found out, oh no. So Christmas time, all the other kids brought beautiful gifts for her and, nicely wrapped and so. And this is a guy brought half bottle of cologne and a little brooch that was missing one of the rhinestone or whatever. And it was wrapped in normal paper. And she wondered, what is the story with this child, So she kept him back after the class and she told him, she said, I love your gift. I love your gift. And she put on some of the cologne. And he broke down and cried, and he said his mother died. And so then she took a personal interest in this child. Personal interest. The other kids used to laugh at him and so, and she would try to tell them that, you have to, he's just like you all, but his circumstance is different. And anyway, the story went on that he got a scholarship and he went to university, and she got a letter from him inviting her to come to his graduation ceremony. And so that was the first letter she got from him. And the second letter he sent, he wanted her, he was graduating with his PhD. But each time he would say, you are my best teacher. Each letter he would say, now he's gone through university, he did his PhD, you are my best teacher. And the third letter, he said to her, he was getting married and he wanted her to be his mother giver. And whenever I read it, because I had got that years ago, and when I read it again, I said, oh my, this is such a touching story.
Very nice story, Louise. Thank you very much.
So I could understand that a teacher that is free-spirited, because she definitely then gave herself that opportunity to reach out.
And teachers need not see kids as a statistical item in the class.
Yes.
Having said that though, it's hard for them as well, so you have to understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
So here in America, they're set on a kind of productivity. You got to get the kid to this level by this time, and who comes along, and if a kid can't catch up, you leave them behind.
Yeah.
That's not teaching. That is just talking at random and at will and hoping that what you're teaching is sticking.
Yeah.
You need to invest time in every child in the classroom. And they have this saying here in Florida, a few years back it was instituted, no child left behind. And I don't see the value in that statement, no child being left behind, if you're not willing to stay with the child and carry them forward with you.
Yeah.
You have to take them, you're the one who walked into the classroom with a vision. You have to let them see that vision and take them along with you in that vision. So, how was it for you in class? Did you have a teacher that inspired you the way Grammy Louise just explained?
I guess it was my Spanish teacher in middle school.
Mhm.
I don't really remember everything, but I just know that I was in her class and I enjoyed it to the point where I've always stick to Spanish. Like even now, graduated with my bachelor's and I graduated with a minor in Spanish literature. I even went to Spain, and I would say that yeah, she sparked a love for Spanish in me, and this is the byproduct of it.
Mhm.
But how do I say she and I? So I'm an introvert and I'm not really a talker in class, but I do find that I do remember that she would look at me and not ignore me, because sometimes I have experiences where some people, they see I'm quiet and then they don't how do I say, feel the need to work with me or to still see me as a child that they can talk to or some sense like that. But I would say that she would come and she would see that I was interested and that she would still work with me, if that makes sense.
Well, I want to thank everybody here for being so nice and so cooperative. Really, and I smell an apple pie. I think it's about time to wrap this up. So thank you all very much. Success to this family. Hopefully, and God will bring you all through everything. And future looks really good for Kyra and Warren and Sidoni and Gary. So thank you very much once again, and all the best.
Bye.
Bye.